In this video lesson, we're going to take a look at inserting rollover images. Now, a rollover image is basically an image that has two different states. One we call the up state, which is what the image normally looks like when it's on the screen. The second state is called the over or down state, and in that state, the image will change slightly when the user's cursor is over it. This is used in web design as a feedback mechanism to let the user know that they're on something selectable. Oftentimes you'll see this with buttons. The button may change in some way as a cursor rolls over it to either look like it's depressed or to give the user some idea that they are on that button and when they click something will happen. Inserting and creating a rollover image is very, very simple. We're going to use Photoshop to actually create the images. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Photoshop file here, and I'm going to use this same picture of the pug that we've used in the past couple tutorials. And I'm going to need to create two versions of this photo. So in the first version here, I'll just leave the image as is, and this may be the either the up or the down state, whichever we choose. I'm going to make a new layer, so I'll duplicate this. And in this second layer, I'll change it in some way. So I could either make it black and white, or I could add drop shadow, or whatever really works for you. And there's really no recipe for this. It's really whatever states you would like to use. So I'm going to put this on the blue page of my file. So I'll make kind of a blue version of this image and the standard version of this image. So what will happen is when the user rolls over this, you'll see that it will change. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pick one of my states. I'm going to go to File, Save for Web and Devices. And I'm going to go ahead, again, high quality JPEG. For this instance, if we compare my JPEG here with my original, I'm really not losing much. I still have a decently low file size. If I were to change this and use a GIF or something like that, I would probably end up losing some of the quality. So I'll select it, save, and I'm going to drop this directly into my assets. So I'll call this Blue Pug. Now if you notice, I already have a version of the red pug saved. Alright, and we used that on another page. We inserted it before. So I could just use that red pug image over if I wanted to. Now I'm not going to in this case because if you remembered in last lesson, I added a drop shadow to it, and that may actually cause it to look slightly different. Now I'm going to flip back to my other layer. I'm going to go to File, Save for Web and Devices again. Choosing my JPEG, I'm going to save, and in this case, I'm going to call this Red Pug 2, just so it has a different name. I'm going to save. Finish with Photoshop for the time being. And I'm going to jump back into Dreamweaver now. I'm going to insert this on the blue page, and I insert this just like I would any other image, but you'll see when I get into the image menu, it's going to be slightly different. I'm going to place my insertion point. I'm going to go up to the Insert menu, choose Image Objects this time instead of just Image, and I'm going to select Rollover Image. In this case, it's going to allow me to name the image, so I'll call this Pug Rollover. Replace my space with a bracket. The original image. This is going to be the image that is on the screen all the time. So when I browse, go to my assets, I'll make the blue pug on the screen. And then my rollover image is what this is going to look like when my cursor moves over this image. So I'm going to browse, and I'll choose my other state. We want to make sure that preload rollover image is selected. Add my alt text, If you remember from last lesson, this is text that will show up if for some reason that image can't. Now there's another box here, when clicked, go to URL. If you were making rollover buttons for some kind of navigation, you could go ahead and preset the link in which that rollover image would take you to. This can also be done later on by going to the properties bar with the rollover image selected. Once I've filled in all my areas, I go to select OK, and it's going to insert that rollover image. If I save this and preview, you see when my cursor rolls over this image now, it's going to change. So it has two states now. So you could make something look as though it's been depressed into the screen simply by adding a inner shadow, or make it look as though it's lifted up off the screen by adding an outer shadow or drop shadow. There's really a lot of things that you can do to make a little bit more dynamic page using the rollover image method. Now for this lesson, your assignment is to replace 3 of the images on 3 of the pages that you've created. Remember, you have 6 pages, each with an image inserted right now. I would like you to take and make 3 rollover images. Could be the same image, just recycled and processed in Photoshop, but you're going to make 2 states for each one, and 3 of your 6 web pages should have a rollover image inserted into them.